a massive update that the NBA should be terrified about. Jeremy Sochan was expected to not be here, not be playing with the San Antonio Spurs until the next calendar season. He should be back this December, and we're going to break down what this means for the San Antonio Spurs and how Jeremy Sochan is doing right here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And I hope everybody had themselves a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you're football fans watching some football, obviously Spurs, Texas, the Dallas Cowboys got to win. Don't know if it's good or bad, but I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. We appreciate all of you guys here at Spurs Digest. And if you guys haven't yet, take a spur of the moment, get every Spurs moment moving forward here with us. I know it's a change of setup here. We should be back to normal stuff here very soon, but let's talk about it. Spurs Jeremy Sochan eyes early return from thumb injury, a boost for injury-plagued team. We have seen Wemby out. We've seen Devin Vassell out. Blake Wesley has missed some time. Our Malachi Branham has missed some time. We've had guys miss the rotation and haven't been there, but the Spurs have been winning. They went on a 4-game winning streak for the first time in a few years. They obviously had their 3-game winning streak. They had the 3-game winning streak, which I spoke on. I didn't get a chance to speak on the fact that they did get the 4, but unfortunately they did end up getting a loss, their first loss within 5 games against the Los Angeles Lakers. But we are here to talk about Jeremy Sochan. Of course, on November 6th, there was a massive hit took when Jeremy Sochan fractured his thumb against the Los Angeles Clippers. But this team actually, since that moment, has been a massively above 500 team, and we're going to get into that here shortly. But now the team is looking and hoping for a quicker than expected return from the young star, a much-needed boost for a squad still grappling with injuries and waiting for its full roster to be in action together. I keep talking about it. I can just picture it. Christmas time, you open presents, you're with your family, you're with your friends, whomever you spend your Christmas time with, and then it's 12 o'clock and you look at the screen and it's like Vassell, Sochan, Wemby, CP3, player of the week last week, Harrison Barnes, and then from there you get Castle, Tre Jones, Keldon Johnson, Zach Collins, Charles Bassey, whomever they choose, Julian Champagnie, the way he's been playing too, and it's like, it's a Christmas miracle, and that's just what I picture. I picture Sochan being back around Christmas time, and I could see his first game truly being Christmas. He underwent thumb surgery. I don't even know if underwent's really the phrase for it, but after undergoing thumb surgery, experts initially estimated he'd be about 20 games, possible return early January, but instead the typical recovery period involving a splint or cast. He has been spotted working out, as you saw in the intro here, getting up some jump shots. Of course, it's not going to look all that impressive and all that great, obviously still coming off of that injury, but you know what it is looking like? He's looking like he's getting back into it, and he's actually spoken on that injury. He says, it's gotten a little bit boring. The most important thing is I'm present around the facility at games, road trips, and so that has been good, and I have been wanting to play since last week, but I've still got to stay patient. Just be a pro. It's going to be sooner than later. I think it's going to be days, not months. That's the most important thing, and that is the most important thing because he was playing some of the best basketball of his career, and he was playing, at that time, the best basketball for the San Antonio Spurs because Wembanyama at that point wasn't actually playing up to standard. Since that moment, he's been playing like one of the top 10 players in the league. Before the injury, he was making the case for most improved, and that is 100% true. He's calling this injury a second training camp, which I thought that was interesting because he's taking off his time, getting his body right, getting his mind right, even though with the thumb injury you wouldn't think he would be able to, but he still is. The process is just staying fit, keeping my conditioning up. He can still lift, so he's getting stronger, so he's going to come back a physical presence. The thing that's good too is he won't have, not that it's too far in the season, so it's not even crazy, but he won't have the natural wear and tear that a lot of people are starting to develop. Obviously, we've seen players like older players. Steph has missed a couple games. Jokic has missed a couple games, even though he has been playing phenomenal. We know what goes on with Embiid. So we see a lot of these players missing time, and we see them playing, or you have the players who have been there the whole time, who have been playing 20, 25-ish games, they're going to get to 25-ish games by the time Sochan typically is going to get back roughly. and they just have a natural wear and tear in their body where Sochan's going to come in, he's going to be fresh. So the way he has been playing and the way he's looking, that is going to be great for this roster. If it up for Sochan, as obviously early as Sunday you would see him against Sacramento. We'll see soon though, he said with a grin. That's what you'll have to see. Sidelines, been active on the bench, and that is the difference between this team and last year's team. Not that like they hated each other or anything like that. Of course, their brothers have been growing, but you heard it from Stephon Castle talking about how the locker room is. You've heard it from many people in that Spurs organization that this team just feels different. The way that the camaraderie that they're having within the locker room, you can see that translating onto the floor. And then obviously Sochan, that's going to be an added boost. He was 15, 8, and 3, 1 steal a game, playing great defense defensively. Offensively, I know he was only shooting 25%, but he wasn't really taking many threes. He was really taking them sparingly, understanding that his value to the team was getting to the basket, being around the basket, and truly playing that Aaron Gordon style role for the Denver Nuggets, which I thought this going into this year, that is something that he was going to be able to do at a high level. And he was showing to be one of the most improved players coming in from the offseason, which showing he's just an invaluable piece to this puzzle. But going on, we have how the Spurs are looking throughout the entirety of the league. They're the 10 seed right now, but they're only 2 games back of the 4 seed, which is Memphis. Memphis has missed time with John Morant, so they've been playing great basketball. All of these teams they have their flaws. You have Luka. He has been injured this year. That team defensively sometimes can be a little bit up and down. They don't have the consistency, especially late game. They haven't been able to execute down the stretch, or they could be even higher on the win total, but they have been getting better as of late. Denver, they don't have the pieces around Jokic that they should, but Jokic is having an all-time great season, an all-time great start to the season. Phoenix has already missed Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal for a couple games. I think Booker's missed a couple too. So the injury bug with them, as we always know that can be a thing, has began to be a thing. The Lakers, if it's not AD and LeBron, then that team hasn't been great. Memphis, we already talked about. The Warriors have lost last 3. They looked great to start the year with their depth. They did miss Steph in last game against Oklahoma City. They blew the lead to us, the 17-point lead they had in the third, 40-13 to stretch, and they did the same thing to the Los Angeles Clippers, I believe, down the stretch there too, and they've lost 3 in a row. The Rockets look great. The Rockets truly look great. We played them tough, but Sengun's playing great. You have Van Vliet who is there. Jalen Green is showing to be a complete absolute bucket. That team is playing well. And then OKC, even though with the injuries, Hartenstein is back. Chet's going to be back probably February-ish time. I could see him close to All-Star break. But that team looks good. But the Spurs are going to be able to compete with a lot of those teams moving forward, and one injury to any of them could bring them down. I think the Clippers might come down a little bit, even though they do play hard. Harden's playing great, but it just depends on when that other guy we don't mention comes back, if he even does come back. The thing with the Spurs is since the Sochan injury November 6th, they have been a top 12 team, top 13 team in the entire league, and all the metrics show it. Win percentage, they're 7-4. That is tied for 10th over that span. You've got points per game, they're top 12 over that span. And this is a team that was maligned early in the season for not having the ability to score on the outside, on the inside. They were really just a stagnant team. Defensively, they were very good, but offensively, they weren't. Defensive rating through this time, too, is 13th. So they're showing really to be a top 12 team since Sochan's been out, and that's been missing Wembanyama, that's been missing Vassell too. So once you get the whole arsenal back, you can only imagine what this roster is going to be. This 3-point percentage, another thing that was very, very low to start the season. This team shooting about 37% from the 3-point line since November 6th when Sochan did leave. It's just an up and an up. This team's gaining more camaraderie, and especially Chris Polish putting his handprints all over this. And also, this is without Pop. Mitch Johnson showing that he's been doing a very good job, and if he wants a job here soon, he can probably get it. He might be able to take over for Gregg Popovich if Gregg Popovich goes into maybe a Brad Stevens type role where he's more of a general manager, kind of overseeing the San Antonio Spurs. I cannot picture him out of basketball in some capacity, but he could take that Pat Riley role on where he's overseeing San Antonio, but he's not there day in and day out. His health is starting to get to a point where maybe it would be best for him to be in that operational rather than being there 82 games, game in and game out. And then, as I had said, the rating, top 12 actually, in defensive rating there too. So the San Antonio Spurs team, since Sochan's been out, they've missed Vassell, they've missed Wemby multiple games. Top 12 team in the league, and you can only imagine when they get their 3 best players back what this team truly can be. Beginning of the season, I said 44-38 in the 8th seed. I think that is well within the realm of possibility right now. Obviously, the West is going to be a gauntlet, as it always is, but it seems like there's even more talent this year, top to bottom, than there has been in past years. Even teams like the Jazz, as we've faced them up multiple times, they're going to be in the lottery, maybe the high lottery, and they've been playing teams tough. So the West is just a very tough conference, and the Spurs have been playing great basketball through it so far. Going forward, we're going to see what they are able to do and what they're able to possess, but Sochan, getting him back by Christmas time, getting Vassell back and acclimated into this roster, of course, Victor, staying healthy and still ascending as he has been. The three-point shooting from him has been elite, especially for a big, so seeing what he's been able to do has been great. But the update of Jeremy Sochan coming back earlier than expected is just great news. I had mentioned it before, but I wanted to dive all the way into exactly what's been going on with Jeremy because he is such a pivotal piece to this team and their success and their chances of moving forward and possibly getting to a playoff spot, maybe even getting a win depending on who they play, because they're going to be a tough out, and on every night they have the possibility of having the best player on the floor with Victor. But let me know what you guys think. When do you think Jeremy's going to be coming back? When do you guys think, or what do you think when he comes back the Spurs team can do? I think that I have high hopes for this because of the way they have been playing without him. 7-4 over their last 11 games, showing to be a very formidable team in the Western Conference. And you have to remember, this team is one of the youngest. Take out Barnes and Chris Paul, it might be the youngest roster, up there with some teams like OKC or I can't even think of the other team that I'm thinking of right now. But this is just showing how great the future could be. And if Atlanta starts to fall, as they have lost a few games here, could still get a top pick. So let me know what you guys think about the Spurs' future season in the comments. This has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will be talking with all of you guys very soon.